Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. So the Porsche is fixed, it's out of here, the owner's happy, I hope. Seemed happy when he picked it up. Haven't heard anything back, so I have to assume it's working okay. And now I'm on to the next car. I'm kind of keep working on these strange ones. I got the Mini Cooper here. So on this one, the owner was driving it. They were getting on it, and they heard a loud bang, like it sounded like they hit something. And then they noticed it didn't run right, and it's got really reduced performance. So I'm thinking it might be something with the turbo. So we'll see what we can find here. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the old Craftsman scan tool, see what it can see, and then we'll kind of do a visual inspection under the hood. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start this up. I got my cable plugged in. I'm going to start it and then plug that into my scanner and see what we see. That in there, it's in neutral. Brake. It might want the clutch pushed in. Okay. Alright, there we go. I don't hear a turbo kicking in. It idles. Alright, let's go ahead and plug this guy in and see what we see. CAN bus. Is this your vehicle? 2008 Mini Cooper S R56 L4 1.4 liter. Or mass or volume airflow A, air mass too high compared to something or another, I don't know. P115D, get technician verified fixes. P115D TSB. And here's 205 mass. Volume airflow A, mass too low compared to something. And mass airflow, mass too high. It's like there's a whole bunch of these 115C. They're all mass or volume airflow. Mass too low, mass too high. Yeah, so mass volume airflow. So I know that this has got a turbo, it's got plastic intake manifold. The owner did bring me a hose for the intake because it is wrapped in electric tape and has a crack in it. But I'm suspecting that something bigger than that probably came loose. So let's go find out. So here's the engine. Here's this hose where it's been taped up, and he brought me this piece of hose. Oh, looky there. That whole upper intake's loose, and I have a feeling that hooks into the lower intake down here somewhere. Oh yeah, there's a big opening here. Oh, okay, here, where this hose comes in. I don't know if you can see that. That's all loose, and that's coming. Oh, I think. Oh, this is the main air intake here. Okay, so that's supposed to come in down here. So that's all loose, and yeah, it's all loose back here in this corner too. So I don't know, the boost, I mean, it looks to me like This is your turbo, and then we've got this tube here. That's going to be the mass airflow sensor. So if that's loose, what's going on? I don't know that this hose here is connected exactly. I'm just going to have to pull this out and take a look, I guess. But there must be some air getting in or out before or after that mass airflow sensor. There's also a sensor here. Yes, and that's some type of pressure sensor. So it looks to me like the air comes from the intercooler through the turbo, and then in. Whether then a lot of times the fresh air side of the turbo goes through the intercooler first. Interesting. Alright, my guess is whatever came loose here, that probably was under boost and said pow, and it probably bounced up, hit the bottom of the hood. That's what probably sounded like they hit something. So we'll tear this down and take a look. Okay, so it looks like this has just got some things here. I'm betting there might be an air filter under here. Be my guess. From the way it's designed. Just weird that you'd put the filter after the turbo. You put the filter somewhere before that. Strange magic on these European cars. Oh, there's one more right here in this corner. Yeah, that's where the air filter is, alright. Alright. Let's see what's under here. Okay, so that must be what must happen is the air comes in here, it comes up through this filter here, then it comes up through this box, through the mass airflow, then it comes through this tube, right, and then through the turbo, then through the intercooler, and this must be where it feeds the main air in, is this hose here down to that lower intake. So let's get down in there and take a look. So that's about loose now. There's just this one clip or something here holding it in. Oh, it's got one star bolt down there, but I'm going to need an extension to get to it. Alright, so right down here in this corner is a star bolt. Let me, what am I doing? Alright, so looks like down here is our intake manifold. There's something here. Man, this is all loose too. It's like somebody's been in here that didn't know what the heck they were doing. Nothing's put back together quite right. I don't know what town this came from. Makes me think I know who it probably came from too. So we want to make sure that there's nothing loose here on this intake side. It doesn't appear to be. So it must be sucking air somewhere after this mass airflow sensor, or losing air somewhere after it. So the mass airflow sensor was here after that air cleaner. So this pipe being busted off and stuff wouldn't cause a mass airflow issue. It would have to be losing air somewhere along the path of this hose. There's this that goes under here. That's probably some type of EGR system. Of course, this hose is split and all electrical taped up. So if there was an air leak there, that would cause it. I'm trying to think what would cause the loud bang. If that's on the intake side, it shouldn't have. There shouldn't have been pressure in there. I don't know if this is some type of a wastegate type deal down here. There's a, you know, the main hose. Let's see where that all goes. It's gotta suck in here somewhere. Because I don't think that air intake system should make any difference as far as any type of air leak. I mean, it could be that small hose, but I don't know. You know, that's on there really loose. That thing's was really loose. It just came right off. Huh. Let's take a closer look at that. So like this wasn't even on here tight. It just fell off practically. This, let's see, there's this hose here. That looks like that's supposed to have a clamp on it, but it was not put back on maybe. It fits pretty darn tight. Okay, there's that. And then there's this little connector. There. Okay, take that off. Oh yeah, looky. I don't know if you can see that. That thing is completely split out right there. Right down in there. Let's see. Big gash in it. Somebody tried putting electric tape over it. They could definitely be leaking, I guess. But I don't know that that's the whole problem. But I don't see anything else in the path right now, short of pulling the bottom intake manifold off the engine and getting down under there and looking. I don't see anything else that looks like it's leaking. This would be a perfect place to have a smoke machine and go ahead and like like hook it up right here at the turbo and throw some smoke in there and see if there's any leaks. I don't have a smoke machine, so let's go ahead and just put this hose on and see if it helps. Alright, so I'm back. It's actually the next day. Had to do some stuff yesterday. What I've done is I've taken and put this radiator hose here in the intake, and then I hooked my pressure regulator up from my leak down tester and dialed that pressure way down to like 5 pounds. And I just kind of made a little adapter on the end with some duct tape. I got some pressure in the system and then sprayed it all down with some soapy water, and I didn't find any leaks along here. Where I found the leak is clear down at the bottom. The intercooler runs like across the bottom here underneath the radiator, and there's a hose that's popped off of that intercooler down there. So there's no way I can show it to you till I get the car up in the air. There's just not enough room. Okay, so I'm off the tripod here, just kind of showing you. This is the hose right here that's loose, and that's supposed to go up here on this intercooler, and it's just come loose and popped off of there, and so there's no turbo pressure. Goes to this little plastic piece back here, so I just got to pop that back on. There's this radiator hose here that's kind of in the way. I'll have to push it up out of my way. They got this like long radiator hose that goes clear across the bottom into this chunty little plastic adapter here, and it runs clear over and clear back up in there. Like, what a crappy design. Clear down here at the bottom of the car, plastic adapters, and that pops and you lose all your coolant and overheat your engine. And then like they got this big chunk of plastic right here on the transmission, right under here where it's going to get hit by something and cracked off. I just don't understand German cars. They're just so crappily designed. They want to make things work and perform and fit them in small spaces, so they just make plastic crap that breaks. Just so little thought put into durability. It's all about like getting the performance and getting it out the door and getting it through warranty. Alright, so once this thing is up in here, there's no way to tighten it with a screwdriver. So it looks like a 7mm wrench. I can squeeze it up in here and get to this hose clamp bolt. My guess is that's probably why it was never tightened before. This thing's been torn apart a few times under here. Just tell with the signs, like there should be clips here holding this up, and the clips are missing. This whole bottom part's loose. This clip's missing here. These clips along here have been butchered a time or two. So this thing's been apart probably by everybody and their brother. Probably the last person that had this apart just couldn't get this hose clamp tight enough because they couldn't get a screwdriver up in there right. So I'm going to see if we can get it tight enough so it won't come off again. Alright, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I think this is probably evap purge stuff up in here, and somebody never bothered to tighten the bolts up on it. It's just got a bolt kind of started threaded in, the other bolt's missing, and it's just flopping around here under the exhaust manifold. I can see the bolt. I don't know if I can get to it. I think I probably can with a bit of an extension. You know, some people just, you know, should have their tools taken away and not be allowed to work on cars. Okay, so I've taken these little rubber grommets off of here and put them down here in the intake manifold, and then those pop down in there. And those weren't put in right before. And then I'll go ahead and hook up this intake hose right here. Like I said, that inserts and twists and locks. Then you sit this down on here, and then that'll be put back in correctly. Okay, so this just kind of comes in here at an angle, and that locks in like so. Once it's twisted, it's locked in there good. Then we just gotta line all this up. There's one bolt over here, so that's gonna slide under first. Let's see if we can get this bolt up and out of the way. Put that in after. Okay. There, now it's in there right. See, now it's not all loose and floppy. Alright, and then we got this one bolt to put back in here. Alright. This bolt's got to go down in this corner. So. And then we put in our air filter. You probably use a new one before too long. But it's not too terrible yet. Then our top goes on here. Back notches, and then it's got screws across the front. Now we'll plug back in our map sensor here. And now we're ready to go ahead and put our hose, our new hose in place, which is here. So that just comes under here. There. This piece slides on, so got our sensor here. Now I just got to tighten these up. If I can find the screwdriver. Just gotta make sure that's on all the way tight. These don't have to be like super death grip tight, because this is just the intake side of the turbo. So since these have a tendency to split and have problems, I think it's usually because people put them on too tight, because the oil filter is buried down here, so you got to take where I had that coolant reservoir and all that out. It looks like you got to take all that out every time you change the oil. So this hose comes off and on a lot, which is why it's broken. Alright, I think we're ready to start it up and see if it's got turbo again. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start this bad boy up. Let's make sure the parking brake's on. We're neutral. It's not climbing. It's probably going to smoke a little too, because I got some of that soap and stuff around on it. And it's got 2 additional codes where I had that map sensor unplugged, or MAF sensor unplugged while I moved it, and that other sensor, or whatever that one was. It might be a manifold air pressure. So we'll go ahead and just hit this. Clear. Race is successful. Check engine light is out. We'll make sure the codes are gone. They are. And of course, it cleared the emission monitors. So I'm going to go ahead and go to live data here, and let's just take a look at the fuel trims. Those look about perfect. Okay, I'm going to go take her for a little test drive here and see how she does. This little car really gets up and goes for a little tiny 4-banger, let me tell you. Kind of like driving it. I wouldn't like working on it. Actually, for a tiny car, it's not too god-awful uncomfortable, even for a big guy. I'm to say I'm impressed. I can't really get on it too much because it's a standard while I have the camera on me. I'll see if I can get on a little bit here for you. Boy, it's got a heavy clutch for a tiny car. Been a while since I drove a stick. Ooh, she turned the tires. Alright, I'm speeding. I got let out of it. Holy crap. She broke the tires loose going into second. Alright, I'm gonna take this on the highway real quick here, make sure it runs okay, and take her back home. Alright folks, well, it runs great. It's actually a really fun little car to drive. It's actually pretty comfortable. The seat moves way back. Yeah, so I see like why Eric the car guy might have been working on one of these. It's I don't know. It's one of those cars you should hate, but you kind of like it. But yeah, it runs great now. It's got plenty of turbo. I was on the turbo pretty hard several times, getting on and off the interstate, accelerating, no problems at all. No check engine lights coming back on or anything. Fuel trims seem perfect. So I think we're all set and good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and call the owner and let them know they can come pick this up. I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your frugal prepper. Be happy, be frugal out there.